Aaron D. Drake said that we have worked hard to be able to say on Friday we did it. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. In a dance, it takes two to tango, and it has been difficult to find a beat, to find a rhythm, to find the same sense of urgency from the league, just to be frank, to get this.
The situation with the WNBA negotiations has reached a boiling point, and what's happening behind the scenes is even more intense than anyone realizes. The league proposed a 30-day extension to prevent a complete work stoppage, giving players a bit more time to negotiate. But within 48 hours of the deadline, the players' response has been a firm no, signaling that they're prepared to stand their ground. The entire 2025 season hangs in the balance, and the stakes are higher than just basketball. This is about power, control, and the future of the league itself. Most expected negotiations to fail, and that prediction is looking accurate. However, what really caught everyone's attention was a particular line in the report about the extension offer. It stated that players might be willing to consider more time, but only if certain conditions were met, conditions that, as of now, they feel do not exist. This subtle but powerful statement signals that the players are not just playing hardball, they're deploying a scorched earth strategy. Behind closed doors, a more explosive battle is brewing, one that could determine whether the WNBA survives or crumbles under pressure.
Players could strike, or the owners could initiate a lockout. Now, I see in this scenario, if the players do not accept the extension, then they would just say that they were going to strike in this situation. And from my understanding, if they were to not accept this extension, and again, they have like less than 48 hours to do it at this point, if they're not going to accept it and they will go on strike, what it does is it makes it so these players are no longer.
Here's what's really at stake. The players essentially have three choices. First, accept the extension and keep negotiations going. Second, negotiate in good faith without any guarantees. An almost impossible move if you've ever been through tough negotiations before. And third, go on strike. If they strike, it's a complete shutdown. No facilities, courts, training staff, or support. And here's the kicker. It's not the superstar players who would suffer the most. Stars like Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu have private trainers, elite facilities, and endorsement deals to fall back on. It's the mid-tier players, making around $70,000, and rookies trying to prove themselves, who would lose everything. No gym access, no team support, and no development during the crucial months. Timing makes it even crazier. In 2019, they extended for 60 days and wrapped up negotiations in January 2020. During the chaos of COVID. But this time, the season is supposed to start on schedule, and with the holidays looming, everything is spiraling out of control in real time.
We've gone over this in previous videos. It seems like there's a he said, she said going on between the players and the owners and the WNBA. Both sides are kind of just pointing fingers. There's been so much that has been wildly unprofessional, in my personal opinion. We've went over all of those things in previous videos.
Did you catch how Aaron D. Drake, senior advisor to the WNBA Players Association, described the league's attitude? He suggested it's difficult to find a beat or rhythm, implying the league isn't taking the negotiations seriously. What this really signals is that both sides are playing a dangerous game, effectively playing chicken with an entire season at stake. Neither wants to be the first to blink. What's happening now feels like the messiest he said, she said in professional sports. The players are leaking information to the media, while the league responds with official statements. All this public drama is overshadowing the real negotiations. In fact, the WNBA just issued a statement. Let's see what they said.
Negotiating with the Players Association in good faith and with urgency for several months with the goal of finalizing a new collective bargaining agreement as quickly as possible. Throughout this process, we have been clear that our top priority is reaching a new collective bargaining agreement that addresses players' ask for significant increases in pay, benefits, and enhancements to their experience while ensuring the long-term growth and success of the league and its teams. We urge the Players Association to spend less time disseminating public information and more time joining us in constructive engagement across the board.
The players are intentionally leaking information to the media, not just to vent, but to apply pressure on the league. They're leveraging social media to create public outrage, hoping to force the league into action. This strategy is a calculated risk, yet it might be backfiring. Instead of strengthening their position, these leaks could be undermining their leverage. Remember when Brianna Stewart or Nafisa Collier went public with league issues? Each reveal chips away at their negotiating power. The league's calls for constructive engagement are clear. Stop leaking so much and get back to the table. But the players' tactic is to keep public attention on their side, which could either help or hurt their cause. Ultimately, this public battle complicates negotiations, making it harder to reach a fair deal. It's a high-stakes game where both sides risk losing more than they gain.
The things that Nafisa Collier had to say, if those things are true, those hold a lot of weight, and those kind of shed a little bit of light into the WNBA ownership and kind of their motives behind the scenes. But we've had multiple instances where players are leaking information that we as the public did not need to know. We don't need to know what they are negotiating, all of the terms, all of the details, I think is actually hurting the leverage of the WNBA.
This is where everything starts to fall apart: the revenue split. Right now, WNBA players receive just 9% of league revenue. In contrast, NBA players get around 50%, and other major sports leagues typically share between 47% and 50%. Naturally, WNBA players want a larger share. But here's the complication: the WNBA only owns 42% of their league. The NBA owns another 42%, and outside shareholders hold 16%. So, when players demand a 50% split, they're asking for a cut of a pie already divided into 6 parts. The math simply doesn't add up. Even if the league wanted to give them 50%, they'd need to overhaul ownership structures, buy back shares from the NBA, and completely restructure the league. It's not just a contract negotiation. It's a fundamental rebuild of how the league operates, involving major financial and structural changes.
Now, the league also said that the Players Association has yet to offer a viable economic proposal and has repeatedly refused to engage in any meaningful way on many of our proposal terms, and that it has offered an uncapped revenue sharing model that is directly tied to the league's performance. And this was something else too. Again, this is all he said, she said. It's all very dramatic. It's all very messy. It all feels unprofessional across the board. Like, I get stressed out even covering this, but it seems like WNBA players are coming to the table. They are saying exactly what they want, and they're not budging on.
Did you notice the contradiction? The league claims they've offered an uncapped revenue sharing model directly linked to league performance. Yet they also say the players haven't presented a viable economic proposal. So either the league's offer isn't what the players are asking for, or the players are holding firm on demands that could potentially bankrupt the league. What's missing are the actual numbers. No one's revealing how much revenue the WNBA actually generates. We don't know if the league is profitable or still operating at a loss. We also lack clarity on the specific demands the players are making in terms of percentage. It all feels like smoke and mirrors as the countdown to a possible lockout continues. You might be wondering, why doesn't the WNBA just become independent, keep all revenue, and pay players what they want? I had the same thought, but here's what that really entails.
The WNBPA and its fight for a collective bargaining agreement that reflects the players' undeniable impact on the league's growth. It's time for fair compensation, proper working conditions, and a future that puts players first. And it says we stand with the players. There have been other things like this that have been going around on social media. Like, one of them was politicians were also saying that they stand with the WNBPA. I don't know how this changes anything. Like, this just, it feels performative. Like, that's great that the NFL players are standing with the players and want them to get paid more and whatnot, but I don't.
For years, the WNBA operated at a loss. The NBA provided subsidies for everything: facilities, operations, marketing. Without that support, does the WNBA have enough financial stability to operate independently? Could they afford to buy back the NBA's 42% ownership stake? Do they even have the cash reserves to survive a bad season without the safety net of NBA backing? These aren't just hypothetical questions anymore. If the CBA negotiations break down, if a work stoppage occurs, or if the 2025 season gets delayed or canceled, we might learn the hard way whether the WNBA can stand on its own. Meanwhile, the chaos isn't going unnoticed. The NFL Players Association released a statement supporting WNBA players. Politicians are tweeting in solidarity, and social media is buzzing with opinions. But none of that alters the core financial dilemma at the heart of this entire situation.
If we look at the basketball players who are part of Athletes Unlimited currently, you have players like Ariel Atkins, Sarah Ashley Barker, Kirsten Bell, Lexi Brown, Tina Charles, Caitlin Chen, Alicia Clark. You have Sid Colson, you have Bree Hall, you have Isabel Harrison, Natasha Mack is in there, Anissa Morrow's in there, Kia Nurse, Tahina Pow Pow, Aaliyah Nye, JC Sheldon, Odyssey Sims, Nalissa Smith, Kia Stokes, Bree Turner is also.
See what's really going on here? Everyone's showing support, posting statements, making headlines. But the WNBA owners aren't swayed by tweets from the NFLPA or politicians' virtue signaling. Their main concern is simple. They can't run a profitable league while meeting player demands. And right now, no one's providing a clear answer to that dilemma. Meanwhile, an even bigger issue is slipping under the radar. While the WNBA is tearing itself apart over CBA negotiations, other leagues are circling like sharks, sensing weakness. ESPN just announced a multi-year partnership with Athletes Unlimited, a rival women's basketball league that's been around longer than Unrivaled. They're already broadcasting games, building infrastructure, and signing players, some of whom are choosing to play there instead of waiting for the WNBA to get its act together.
I wanted to bring that up because I think more than anything, it's just truly fascinating. We have not heard from Michael Jordan. And even with these few minute clips that we're seeing every single week, it's creating so much dialogue in the sports world. And I think it will continue to do that, especially if they ask those controversial or thought starting questions. So you guys let me know in the comments below, do you want to see more of Michael Jordan? Do you think that he should just stay a mystery and stay the mysterious GOAT that he is? Also, of course, let me know all of your thoughts on the WNBA, the off-season things, the CBA. My brain hurts from
Ariel Atkins, Tina Charles, Odyssey Sims, Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Mack. These are not just role players. They're established stars in the WNBA, actively preparing backup plans in case the league collapses or faces prolonged turmoil. Now, ESPN has given them a national platform, which is a significant development. What's even more telling is that Athletes Unlimited lacks the star power of top-tier WNBA players like Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, or Angel Reese. But they might have something even more valuable right now: stability. While the WNBA is caught up in internal disputes over the CBA, Athletes Unlimited is quietly building partnerships, securing broadcast agreements, and positioning itself as a safe, reliable alternative for players and fans alike. This situation echoes what has happened in other sports leagues. When labor disputes drag on too long, players often grow impatient and start exploring other options, which causes the original league to lose its grip on top talent. Once players begin migrating elsewhere, it becomes nearly impossible to turn back the tide, like trying to put the genie back in the bottle. The more alarming trend? Major networks and brands are now investing in these emerging leagues, not as backups, but as potential replacements. The recent ESPN partnership with Athletes Unlimited and the formation of other leagues signal a shift in the landscape. Industry insiders are starting to see these leagues as real alternatives, especially if the WNBA's ongoing negotiations result in a delayed or canceled season. If the WNBA season is postponed into the winter, or if a lockout extends into early next year, these other leagues won't just sit idly by. They'll seize the opportunity. They'll fill the void, attract viewers, lock in sponsorships, and establish their own presence. As a result, the WNBA could find itself competing for attention instead of commanding it. This should be a wake-up call for everyone involved in the negotiations. Once momentum is lost, it's very difficult to regain. Fans who turn to these alternative leagues may not come back easily, and the damage can last for years. History offers clear lessons. The NHL lockout in 2004-2005 canceled an entire season, and it took nearly a decade for the league to rebuild its audience and revenue. The WNBA, with its smaller financial cushion, doesn't have that kind of resilience. If the league mishandles this crisis, it risks losing its place in the sports world altogether. The WNBA is still in the process of building its foundation, fighting for mainstream recognition, improving its financial sustainability. A work stoppage now could set the league back a decade. With just 48 hours remaining, the situation is tense. The league offered an extension, but players are hesitant to accept it. Both sides are publicly blaming each other, while alternative leagues are positioning themselves as replacements. Yet no one is sharing clear numbers to assess whether this dispute is even solvable. If Friday arrives and the players reject the extension or decide to strike, questions arise. Do they have enough financial reserves to outlast the owners? Are the owners willing to wait into 2025? More critically, is this about fair pay or driven by ego and stubbornness? Both sides seem entrenched, players demanding a 50% revenue split, while owners say they can't give that without risking the league's viability. The only solution is compromise, but that means both sides must be willing to give up some of their hardline positions, something neither appears prepared to do. In today's social media age, every statement is scrutinized, and any concession is seen as a sign of weakness. This makes backing down nearly impossible, creating a destructive cycle in modern sports negotiations. It's less about finding solutions and more about winning the PR battle, appearing strong for your supporters, and avoiding the shame of being the first to blink. Amidst all this posturing, the most important element, the upcoming season, becomes collateral damage. You can sense the exhaustion in the situation, and honestly, so can I. It's become so messy, so dramatic, and so publicly tangled that it's hard to tell what's real anymore. Every statement contradicts the last. Every leak is denied. Every offer is rejected. It's like watching a relationship fall apart in slow motion, with both sides airing their grievances on social media. What truly matters now is what happens in the next 48 hours. If the players reject the extension and decide to strike, it could lead to months of chaos and instability. On the other hand, if they accept it, the same drama will simply continue under the guise of ongoing negotiations. If they attempt to negotiate in good faith outside of the extension, history suggests that could end badly for everyone involved. The WNBA is at a critical crossroads, not just in these negotiations, but as a league overall. This moment will determine whether the league can become a sustainable, independent professional sports organization, or whether it will remain reliant on NBA subsidies and goodwill indefinitely. The players are forcing this question now, and the outcome could ultimately threaten everything they have worked to build. What happens next? Will the system evolve or will everything collapse?